In a world of movie references flying over his head, one man will finally watch them. This is the Matt and Blonde Show movie review.
This week's movie is Steve Martin's 1979 starring debut, The Jerk, in which a simple-minded, racially confused farm boy heads to St. Louis to find his special purpose, stumbling into a fortune only to lose it all and return to where he started. From movie picker Kyle, a classic comedy back when Steve Martin was funny and Carl Reiner wasn't a broken, Trump-hating man. I like to think think of this movie as a spiritual forefather to Dumb and Dumber. No message, no societal themes, just stupid jokes and slight gags that still hold up. Plus, Steve Martin screaming the N-word makes it a watch. As always, your review and your rating.
Can I say first that I like to predict what, I bet you hated this. Okay, but don't tell me. What any two people find funny, there's no logic or reason to it really. Like, you're not going to convince me and I'm not going to convince you that a certain movie that, I don't find funny is funny. It's just not going to happen. Now, this might be unfair, but I just didn't find it funny. I mean, they're A+ for the N-word stuff. I love the stuff with the black family. But it was like a lot of slapstick humor. I like my jokes to have that superficial layer and then to have some other stuff underneath it, And it was just too much stuff, too much gag comedy.
You didn't like his head turning all the way around his body?
I don't know, man. And then why is he a retard sometimes, but not other times? In the beginning, I was like, is he trying to be drunk or is he a retard? And then did the word jerk have a different connotation? Because he wasn't really a jerk,
He actually was very nice. Yeah, I think
he was a nice guy. I don't know. I mean, I just wasn't laughing at the surface level stuff. But for the racism, 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 just for Steve Martin dropping the N-word. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I have no defense here.
Yeah.
I just didn't find it funny.
We're actually not too far off, and I share several of your points, but you're wrong that I hated it, because I was actually much closer to loving it. And
really?
It was
I don't know why I find that shocking.
It was the sort of movie that started off kind of slow, and it's the sort of dad jokes that are so painful that I thought maybe these aren't the right ones, but it really picked up as it developed, and it ended up being exactly my kind of humor, which is not only painful dad jokes or puns or double entendres that are kind of
super
so
racist,
bad that they're good, but burying bits into the ground. You know how much I love that. So I thought that there's just A+ stupid writing in this movie. And to your point about slapstick aside, it wasn't even slapstick that I appreciated. Just a few lines or moments that I really loved, to give an example of this sort of humor. Like when Navin he's managing that carnival stand, and the manager or his boss comes up to him and explains to him that he's made $14.50, even though he's just giving away a bunch of crap. And he says, it's a profit deal. Well, that takes the pressure off. Just those kind of lines. Love that. When his shots are being fired, he hates these cans. Got to stay away from the cans.
Yeah, I laughed at that.
Yeah. And then the dialogue between him and Marie on the first date, where he's asking her if she has a boyfriend, and she says, well, kinda. Could you think of me when you're making love to him? Well, maybe you could think of me when you're making love to him. Or just that conversation was just ridiculous. And there was the cosmetologist line in there too. I'm sure the weightlessness is very difficult.
What do you think she meant?
Wait, what?
What did he think that she was talking about?
Cosmonaut or astronaut,
Oh.
I don't know what the exact term would be, but cosmos as in space rather than cosmetics. Yeah. So a lot of great moments like that. As far as running bits into the ground, you know how much I love that. The joke is funny because you won't stop saying the joke. It's you run it into the ground, you dig a hole to bury it next to the dead horse, that kind of stuff.
Lord.
And this exchange he had where he was explaining to Marie how many days it has felt like since they've known
That
each
was
other.
funny too. Yeah.
It just goes on and
First
on.
day. Yeah.
And I got to give underrated credit to how difficult I think that would be to perform as an actor, to deliver that detailed and complicated of a line.
Surely it was improv.
It might have been improv. I don't know if it was scripted, but either way, to go on as long as it did and not break and have it kind of make sense. Really impressed. And then, of course, the scene where he's leaving her. This is all I need is just this paddleball game and my chair. And that's all I need. Okay, one more thing. And it just goes on and on and on. And the original bit isn't even that funny. The comedy is that it just went on for forever. Love it. I got to credit the N-word scene, of course.
Naturally.
Not just because it was like a moment that wouldn't happen anymore, but because even the premise was funny. Like he's a racially confused man, so there's reason for him to say, "Sir, you are talking to an N-word," because it's not just thrown in there for shock. It actually has a premise. And
Has he apologized for this movie?
I looked up an interview. I was kind of Googling around to see if anyone has gone after him for this, and there was. Steve Martin did an interview in 2015, and he certainly didn't apologize, and he didn't back down for it. He did say something to the effect of like, well, all the black cast was very well treated, or it was still like of a quasi apologetic tone, but still mostly a non-apology, not a back down. So I give credit for that.
Good.
And I have to say, have you seen Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're not a fan. We've been over this. No. I thought this movie is almost, Dumb and Dumber is almost a copy paste of this movie in so many ways, not just the writing style, performance style, like the way Steve Martin delivers that line. Oh, it's a profit deal. Jim Carrey as Lloyd Christmas in Dumb and Dumber delivers lines in a very similar way. But it's not just the writing and the performances that are similar. Even general plot points are pretty similar. Both movies, of course, involve buffoons who stumble into fantastic wealth only to lose it all. Both movies are about the importance of a woman's love despite that wealth. And bizarrely, both movies involve these powder blue suits, too.
Oh, yeah. It is really derivative, isn't it?
And I love Dumb and Dumber, so it's been kind of painful for me to confront this because I was searching the internet. I thought, okay, someone who made Dumb and Dumber clearly saw and loved The Jerk. There's got to be some reference to that somewhere. I can't find any record of anyone who made or had any hand in making Dumb and Dumber naming The Jerk as an influence. In fact, there was a movie review at the time Dumb and Dumber came out, and the reviewer said Dumb and Dumber is The Jerk with 2 jerks instead of 1. That's the only.
That's really accurate.
But it's pretty much correct. And I list this as my points of appreciation because I think one of my favorite movies, in fact, probably my favorite comedy of all time, seems to have taken significant influence from this. I just worry that without any mention of it, am I confronting the reality that perhaps my favorite comedy was borderline plagiarized? It's right there. I'm not saying it's a complete ripoff.
It's close.
But it is very similar.
Yeah.
And the only negative I had was your exact point that is he actually retarded at some points?
Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't get it. That's kind of how I felt this whole movie. I'm like, I don't get it. Do I not have a good sense of humor?
He goes from barely able to speak, and not just when he's love struck with Marie, but during his hobo bits, he's barely able to talk. And then at another time, when he's in bed with Marie, he delivers a tongue twister. He said, I forget exactly what the tongue twister is, but suddenly he can speak with amazing skill and clarity. So,
but I think he was supposed to be drunk in those hobo scenes. Right?
Is that what it was? Was it just supposed to be a drunk scene?
Maybe he had his thermos, and I don't know.
Anyway, I ended up giving it a 4 wiki rating. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
And it's
okay, man.
I could be talked into a 5, but what separates The Jerk and Dumb and Dumber for me is I think that the sort of stupid comedy, the banter works a little bit better with 2 idiots or 2 jerks than it does with 1. But this was one of those movies where at the start, probably the first 15, 20 minutes, maybe in a half hour, I was like, well, I don't know about this. And then
you got into it?
Yeah, it really took off. And by the time the N-word scene rolled around, it's like, all right, you got me.
I'm into it.
All right, let me see what the audience thinks. I wonder how many people have actually seen it. It's kind of an older, more obscure movie. So we actually don't have a lot of early ratings for it, I think, because a lot of people probably just haven't seen this one. But the
I'm
early
pretty
vote
surprised.
is pretty even split, 5, 4, and 3, each getting about a third of the vote. So higher end ratings for the people that have seen it. Next week is Psycho, the 1960
Ooh.
Alfred Hitchcock classic. So we will watch that one. And then we have a fresh list of nominations for July from listener Bobby. Those nominations are Training Day, Man on Fire, Inside Man, Bloodfather, Spectral, Collateral, Congo, The Lion King, the 1994 original. Or, of course, you can vote for a randomly selected top-rated movie instead and reject the list outright.
No one said that in a while.
We almost had a wild card vote this last week over Psycho, but not quite. And as a reminder, if you'd like to read my movie reviews, comment how wrong I am, submit your own rating, vote for the next movie, and sign up for the chance to be the movie nominator for the month, the one and only place to do all of that is in my weekly movie review column, linked in the description and over on the homepage of the website. That is mattchristiansenmedia.com.